because of the SportsMax zone, records were shattered and the legacy cemented at the World Athletics Championships, which ended in Eugene, Oregon on Sunday. In their first time hosting the World Championships, the United States topped the medal table with a record 33 medals. Ethiopia were next, claiming gold in the men's and women's marathon for a final tally of 10 medals. Kenya and Jamaica also had 10 medals each. The championships will be memorable for several individuals. The great Bahamian Shawnee Miller-Weaver finally got her hands on a world title, while Barbados' rising star Shade Williams became the first woman from her country to win a medal in World Championships history. Miller says she's now retired from running the one-lap event after besting Marilady Paulino of the Dominican Republic and Williams of Barbados in the 400 meters final. The outstanding Grenadian Anderson Peters proved himself boss in the javelin, repeating as world champion with a best throw of 90.54 meters in Eugene.
To be able to defend my world championship title, coming from not making the Olympic finals last year to defending the world title and having 3 throws in the final over 90 meters, I mean, I'm really grateful for that. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that supported me, thank God for giving me the ability to perform this work.
That's Anderson Peters. Leighton Levy joins us to recap the action. Good afternoon, Leighton.
Hey, George, what's up?
I'm well. Let's start with Anderson Peters, the man who has looked a class apart from rivals in the build-up to these World Championships and proved himself so at the Games.
Yes, I mean, he is one of the more outstanding performers at this World Championships because, as I've said previously, Anderson Peters, winning is a habit, and he's addicted to that habit because he's been a winner from these days of Carifta through to the NCAAs, and of course now he's on the world stage as one of the best throwers in history. He just mentioned it in that comment a while ago, where he's the first javelin thrower to throw 3 throws over 90 meters in any championship. I mean, it's incredible, and he's done it. He's done twice in a meeting. I think it was Doha earlier this year, where he threw 93 meters, and of course he threw 91 and 93 meters. He's been outstanding. One of the things that impressed me most about Anderson Peters this year is how he's managed to consistently throw great distances, even when he was not well. Because just a couple of weeks before the World Championships began, he threw 90 meters and then said afterwards that he was not 100%, that he had a back injury. And it was then that I was completely convinced that had he gone into the World Championships even slightly healthier than he was on that particular day, he wasn't going to lose. And so said, so done.
Yeah, let's talk about Anderson Peters some more in the javelin, because if you track the history of the World Championships from 83 forward to now, and if you look at the long history of the Olympics, the javelin is not something you see a black man being prominent in, Leighton, let alone defending a world championship in. And people need to realize how significant not just Anderson Peters is with this repeat performance, but the significance of what the young Trinidadian did in 2012 in London with that astounding performance to win javelin gold.
Yes, absolutely. And he's only the second person in the history of the sport to ever defend the javelin title. Keyshawn Walcott won in 2012, but he came back and finished third in 2016. Anderson Peters, the only reason why I think he didn't probably win the Olympics last year was because he was hurt. He was out with surgery, I think it was, if I remember correctly. So, what he's done is significant. And the fact is, look, he comes from a country where Kirani James is the man, okay? I mean, his record is impeccable. But when you look at what Anderson Peters has done in the history of the sport, and specifically for the javelin, this year was his, what do you call it, the epiphany of his career in terms of bringing the light to the world of just how good he is, just how outstanding and how consistently outstanding he's been. Because people forget, the character title is notwithstanding, he's won 2 NCAA titles, and, he made a transition to the senior ranks, virtually seamlessly. So you're looking at a young man who knows how to win, and that has carried that habit with him since his teen years, right through until, into the senior ranks. No, he's a fantastic performer.
Definitely a fantastic performance. Speaking of fantastic performers, we're going to move across now to the Bahamian Shawnee Miller-Uibo winning her first world title.
Well, Shawnee, as you know, this is the only title she's never won. She's won everything at the junior level, and of course everything but this title. And of course, people were concerned about her form coming in. But as she explained, other than a slight niggle at the start of the season, she was working on a new race plan. And of course, she wasn't at her best at the championship. But 49.11 was still good enough to win, and win convincingly, as I had expected, over Marlene Paulino. And establishes her now as, for me, probably the greatest 400-meter runner ever. Better than Marie Rosa Perret, because, as I said, Shawnee has won everything. 2 Olympic titles, a world title. She's run 48.3. What hasn't she done? Character champion, world under 20 champion. She's run the full gamut of titles that anyone could possibly win in the 400 meters, and continues to build on her everlasting and incredible legacy as one of the greatest female 400-meter runners of all time.
Right, Leighton, and of course she would have felt as if, she finally accomplished what many felt as if was something that she couldn't get to. It didn't matter how many times she would have attempted this event, she just wasn't getting it. So a sense of accomplishment for her. Absolutely.
Look, there are times in major championships, no matter how good you are, where you're up against the best in the world, where it's just not your day on the day of the final, and doesn't take away from it or doesn't diminish the quality of the athlete. It just means that on that day there was somebody better, and that was the case, I think, with Shawnee Miller-Uibo. I think Allyson Felix, stopped her 1 year. Of course, Allyson Felix has her own legacy as one of the greatest female athletes, period. So I don't think there was anything for her to be ashamed about or embarrassed about not winning a world title, but the ambition was still there for her to come and win it this time. Of course, she did say earlier this year that this was her last hurrah, because she wants to probably step down to the 200. And because the organizers are not willing to set the schedule up to allow her to compete over both, she's done everything that she can possibly do for the 400 meters. Now she's going to take on the 200. Don't have a very interesting time, because, she's taking it on against her longtime nemesis, Shericka Jackson, who is now probably a few yards better than her over the 200 meters. And of course, with the likes of, Gabby Thomas and, Abby Steiner, and a couple of other Europeans who are running really well. Dina Asher Smith, for example. The 200 is already stacked. But for her to step down into that event is, it shows you just the kind of athlete she is. Extremely brave and not afraid to take on new challenges.
Yeah, and Leighton, on Friday when we were previewing the event, we spoke about Shade Williams likely needing to go sub 50 personal best to get a medal here, and that's exactly what she did.
Absolutely, Lance, because as I said, I had picked Candice McLeod to be among the medalists there, but based on where her progression was leading. But I did say that if Shade Williams breaks 50 seconds, she will be on the podium, and that's exactly what happened. 49.75 is a remarkably fast time, and her progress has been consistent over the past few years since she's joined the MVP track club. And, now she's gotten there. She's gotten to the pinnacle of where she can possibly get. And she's 24. Can you imagine what she'll be capable of under this tutelage of Stephen Francis for the next few years? She'll probably emerge to become one of the great female sprinters of the 400 meters, also from the Caribbean, because as you know, that field in the final was dominated by Caribbean women. Of course, 2 Jamaicans, the Bahamian, 2 people from the Dominican Republic, and of course, Shade Williams. This is another feather in the cap of the strength of Caribbean 400-meter women over the years, and she continues that legacy.
Yeah. Since we're onto the 400s, Anderson Peters' teammate Kirani James had a brave effort in the men's 400, but just outrun by Norman.
Yeah, as I expected, I think Norman was going to win. But I thought Kirani had the ability to upstage him there. And it almost happened. Kirani ran a fantastic race, but he was just outrun by an athlete who was much quicker in terms of leg speed. 19.5, I think, is Norman's best, or 19.6. The thing is that it came down to strength and leg speed, because Kirani was right on his shoulder with 20 meters to go. Just couldn't find the extra speed and the strength to get by him. But a remarkable performance from a man who's won the world title in 2011, the Olympic title in 2012, and of course has medal in virtually every single championship since that time. There's a full range of medals now, and of course there's silver I'm sure will go down as one of his best performances, given the field that he was up against and given the quality of the field that he was up against. I think Kerani James will go down historically as one of the greats coming out of the Caribbean. It was a fantastic performance.
All right, my friend, everyone has an opinion. Well, everyone with an opinion has pronounced on what went wrong for howling favourites Jamaica in the women's sprint relay final. From where you start, what did you see?
All right, look, let me couch this first by saying that this is not anything about the athletes themselves. This is about how they were positioned and how the coaches decided who should run where. I think that, okay, Jamaica lost by 0.04 seconds, 41.84 to 41.88 against an American team that they should never have lost against. And that's just my strong opinion on that. The reasons why, I think there are a couple of reasons why Jamaica didn't do as well as they should have. Because, one, I think they didn't use their strongest team, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And also, the way the team was set up was not set up in the way which allowed Jamaica to take control of that really early and, of course, eventually go on to win. One, Kemba Nelson has been the scapegoat. She's not at fault here. She ran 11.45 on that opening leg, the same as Brianna Williams in the preliminary round. But here's why I would pick Brianna Williams over her. One, Kemba has shown that the NCAA season took some out of her legs. 11.25 in the 100-meter semifinals showed you that she was not anymore in that form that she came third at the national championships with at the end of June. Okay, so one of the provisions of the rules that govern the Jamaican setup is that not only do you have to demonstrate the form on the day of the trials, but you also have to maintain that form. She did not maintain that form. 11.25 in the semifinals suggests that she was well off her peak by then and probably just fatigued. Also, in the first heat of the preliminary round, where Jamaica finished second to Great Britain, Kemba was outrun on the anchor leg by the British athlete, I think 9.94 to 10.10, which tells me from 3,000 or 4,000 miles away that she was not at her best. Brianna Williams is, in contrast, the best starter Jamaica has outside of Shelley and Fraser-Pryce. She's demonstrated it time and time again, including at the national championships this year, where nobody caught her until 70. So she's fresher, and she did not, she in her first race, after 3 weeks of not competing, ran 11.45 on that opening leg. Chances are, given her freshness, she would have been able to run faster with a second race under her belt. That, for me, is the first thing. Again, this is not Kimba's fault, she didn't pick herself. The second thing is that in 2021 at the Olympic Games, Elaine Thompson-Herah, the Olympic champion, the double Olympic champion, the triple Olympic champion, was in 10.6 shape. She was not in 10.6 shape. She was 0.2 of a second slower at these championships. So when you look at how the Americans, primarily our greatest rivals, set their relay teams up historically, Justin Gatlin, Alison Felix, you look at how they set up their 4x1. They try to break open the relay on the backstretch. Over the years, the people like Usain Bolt has broken that up because of just his superiority in terms of his talent and speed. And with the fact that we had a Johan Blake and a Michael Frater and a Nestor Carter. So it was almost impossible for them to win that relay, given the strength of the Jamaican teams. But when you look at the US team, they usually use one of their strongest runners to break open that race on the backstretch. By that very condition, by that very concept, Jamaica should have put Shericka Jackson. And this is not after the fact for me, because I was saying this before the team was even named, that Jamaica should use Shericka Jackson on the backstretch, because then she would blow open that race and put Jamaica in control. You put Elaine Thompson on the curve because she's a 200-meter runner as well, and have Shelley and Fraser anchor. Why? Because even if the United States is able to gain back ground on that third leg, then the parity on the anchor leg, Shelley and Fraser-Pryce, has a distinct advantage. That's where I think Jamaica lost in terms of the selection of the team and how the team was set up for that relay, and I think it cost us by 0.04 seconds. Also, the key thing, though, underlying all of that, notwithstanding what happened in terms of the personnel that was used and the different things that I just mentioned, the batting changes were extremely poor, and that was significant. The first leg, the second leg, and Shericka Jackson ran up into Shelley and Fraser's back. Jamaica lost about 0.7 of a second on those three changes combined, and we lost by 0.4. We could have won by half a second easily and probably challenged, if not broken, the world record.
Hear you on that. There's no time to interrogate what you said. We have to take the break and come right back with you. Stay where you are, Leighton Levy. Much more about the World Championships after these.